Hi, thanks so much for being here. I'm going to be chatting about how I am migrating my sections to my new planner, or basically how I pre-plan to do the migration before I even start the migration. So if you're interested, I hope you stick around. So there is a few things that I go through when it's time to start thinking about what I want for my system for the following year. And one of the things that I do is go through the sections of the planner I've used throughout the year and choose what I want to keep on and bring on with me for the new year, and what areas I am either considering, or even if they haven't really worked as I want it to, I'd still mark them in some way so I can reflect on whether or not I want to give it another chance. So before I take you through the new planner, which is really, there's really not much going on in here. It's only me setting up or separating the sections that I want to work on once I'm ready to move into this planner. But once we go through all of that, I want to talk a little bit about the actual sections in my current planner. Now, if you've been here for a little bit, you've seen this planner. This has been my one and only, basically my catch-all planner. I have used a hybrid system, so I use either this one with a rings planner system, such as like my pocket Filofax, which I use as a companion to bring with me when I'm out and about, since this one, it's, as you can see, chunky. Or I have switch this one with other ones throughout the year just to give it a fresh feeling and feel like I have something new to use throughout the year, but not necessarily changing my main planner. But this has been, again, my main catch-all planner, so the only one that I'm planning on archiving, hopefully for many years to come. Keeping that in mind, when I moved in here at the beginning of the year, I decided that I wanted it to be my one and only, or my catch-all. So everything goes in here. All of my daily plannings, my school planning, work planning, life, business, family, anything that comes through my head or my life and on a daily basis goes in here, that I want to keep around and archive and reflect on every now and then. I keep that in here, and throughout the year I have added other things as well. The first thing that I did when I moved into this one was cover the overview of the year. Since this is an actual book for 2024, I went ahead and redated it myself. So I just used a whiteout roller like this, and I just went in and whited out all dates and stuff, and I printed out a calendar for the year and I stuck it to this first page. So basically just covering the one that is already here. So let me just go ahead and do this side by side so we can hopefully keep track. So this is how it looks at the beginning. You have the overall yearly overview in here, and that's exactly what I will do for 2025 or for 2026. Again, this is a 2025 book, but I'm using it for 2026. So therefore, I do have to redate everything in here or white it out and to use it again. And that's exactly what I did last year or during this year, and it worked just fine. It works just fine, truly. And really whiting it out didn't really take that long. That's what I'm going for. The next two pages, which we also have in here as well, I know that this one has one layout that it's different from the one that I've been using, but I think everything else should be about the same. So they have Catherine added 2 blank pages in here, which I believe she also uses as a vision board, and that's what I did as well. I love adding a vision board to my planners every single year, and so I went ahead and did it this year. I tried to divide it where between sections, or each side is like an area of my life. So this had to do more with finances and career, education, and stuff like that, and this one had to do with family and self-care and stuff like that. So that's what I went for this year. I went in and separated the steps that I wanted to take throughout the year. Truly, I didn't really refer to this as much as I wanted to, so I want to make it a little bit more interactive. So I did went in and added some notes. So these sticky tabs that you see around the planner throughout had some kind of note to tell me what it is that I want to do in terms of that section specifically. So in here, I want to make it says make it easier to follow and apply. So just, I think in my case, I need to make it a little bit more interactive. So meaning I need a reason to come over here every single day and reflect on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing every single day, and have a way to come back here and reflect on it or take action on it. I think that where I went wrong this year was adding too much information in here. And while that is truly helpful when I am reflecting and thinking about what I want my life to look like for the next 12 months, I think I added, again, too much details, and every time I flipped through this page, even though I did it every now and then, it felt like too much to read through, and I didn't really pay attention to it. So if I just add one action, one single action, just one word on the daily actions, maybe that could make it a little bit more approachable. Same thing with the weeklies and monthlies. And I think that everything else can stay the same for the someday goal, the 1 year goal, the halfway through, and the quarterly review. I can add a little bit more details, but as far as taking action on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis, I think I need a little less information, more actionable words in there. After this one is where we see the difference in the two versions. So the 2024 version went right into the quarter planning or the quarter tracking, and this new version goes to the year overview in a sort of like a Hobonichi style. And I loved this one when I was in my Hobonichi weeks, and I do want to bring it again. But when I was in my Hobonichi weeks, I used to use it as a data tracking. So I just went ahead and grabbed my Hobonichi to show you in here. Let me just show you one that I used the most. Let's see. I think in 2022 is where I used it the most, since I was really in here for the full year. So let's just see if I can get it. Should be here somewhere. Okay, so here I used it as a tracking for pretty much everything. So on the top here, I tracked holidays, birthdays and special events, or things that needed to happen in a specific month, like dental appointments, physical appointments, and things like that, or due dates. And then I tracked my cycles, and I tried to color code for different events. And while I love looking at this and seeing everything in one, I have fell in love with a new version of tracking, which you've seen before because I think I've made a full video about these. But this is basically what I do right now, is just do a full month of tracking in a single page where I track different areas instead of just one or two. So I also switch them depending on what it is that I want to track that specific month. Sometimes I track mindset, sometimes I track whether or not I have been doing exercise or walkings, or how I'm feeling mentally or physically, and other things like that. So it depends on the season, it depends on the month, what's going on, what I'm noticing that I want to track. So it switches, and I think I want to continue that approach. So therefore, on this specific overview here, I do want to find a reason to use it and to actually come back to it every single day. So that's why I went ahead and added a question mark in here, because I do want to use it, but I don't know exactly what to use it for. That invites me to open play to this page every single day. The next one takes us to the quarter overview, which is the same that I had this year. And to be honest, this year I did not use it as I wanted to. I moved in here in December on this planner, so I started from the back. So I started using it in December 2024, and I wanted to use it for media content and tracking, content tracking, something that had to do with content. So I started tracking ideas, just writing down some ideas that I had for content, whether or not I published it, and other things that I was doing, like if I posted or not in my social channels, and I tracked some followers and subscribers and stuff like that. And I wanted to continue to do that, so I think that I did set it up, and I think I did okay the first 3 months. So in January and February, I did track some things in here, and I planned a little bit of what I wanted to work on and stuff like that. But then after that, it just fell through. It didn't necessarily connected with what I wanted to. And not only that, but I also received this anecdote notebook in the mail to review it. And I started planning my content in here, and I have been in here since then. Everything that I do related to videos and media posts and stuff like that goes in here, from ideas to everything. I do use the monthlies more often than not, and sometimes the dailies, random notes or stuff like that, but mostly the monthlies is what I use the most. And I'm thinking I will continue to do that in here until I run out of space, because it's already here and I already have it, and it's pretty much new halfway through. So I don't know if you can tell there, but I have used the monthlies only, and this is a 6 month I think overview of the weeklies, and then you have the 12 months. So the months will be used, but I will have 6 months of weeklies that I can still use to plan content and just brainstorm ideas. And I already have the notebook, so why not give it a full use? So I will continue to do my content tracking in there. Therefore, I don't necessarily want to do that in here, although I do plan some things that are related to content in here in the monthlies. I just add some notes here and there of when I want to film, when I want to post, and things like that, just as a reminder that I want to schedule a film day for that day. I did also try to track some personal, I guess, areas, like whether or not I walk or worked out, or family time and things like that, study, things that I had to do with more family or personal stuff to track to see if I would reach out for this area a little bit more. But since I do track all of these or most of that, or the most important things in the back here, I truly, again, did not reach for this section. So I tried different things here and there, but it's just nothing clicked like I wanted it to. So I definitely have to find a new way to approach that section once I move into the 2026 version. For the monthlies, I don't think I will do too much of a change on how I plan. I really tried to have everything in here. So from appointments, traveling, notes, things that are happening, due dates, vacations, to-dos, monthly due dates, and anything that has to do with a monthly calendar or what's happening in our month, I tried to plan it in here. So as you can see, I tried to add or blocked out dates that are going to be family focused, or we're traveling, or that we want to do some activities, or whatever it is happening. That's what I try to do. We did have a lot of visits, time with good friends this year, and with family, so I try to block those out when I knew them in advance, appointments and things like that. So truly, the way that I approach the monthlies, I don't see that changing way too much, other than just placement and the way maybe that I use the actual decor and stickers and things like that. But truly, if this is something that I just go with the flow, whatever I'm feeling that month, that's what I do. So let's just go back in here. I did move in here on December. Like I said, we did have the monthly review available, so I went in and moved in here. So I started a little bit more simple, so there's only one sticker there, two here, and then just highlights and notes for what's happening throughout the month. Same thing in here. I tried a different overview here for tracking things, but I hated that, didn't try that again. And then in February, I think that's when I started a little bit more into getting more into decorating the actual month. So I added a header there. There's some more stickers around, and you will see how it changes throughout the months. This is April here in May. I think I love how May turned out, and these are doodles as well. So I went in every time I chose a theme for the month. That's the same approach or similar approach that I took for the monthlies, for the actual weeklies and the dailies. Especially in September, you will see that it kind of matches because I used the same sticker throughout the entire month. So I tried to make it like a theme. So this is June, July. Then we go back to August, and you see how simple it is. So if you compare these, it's more doodles, more fun and kind of approachable sort of, and then this is like more bland. In here, this is September. I started adding these stickers. These are from Grabby. This subscription they sent in the mail for me to review. I have had the opportunity to review their sub box 3 times now, and every single time I am just obsessed with everything that they put into it. All the curated products they add, they're always on point. I will add my code below in case you happen to be considering a subscription and you want to give them a try. At least that can give you some discount to just so you can try it. So I tried, it had a few of these stickers. I love these, are like very dainty. So I don't know if you can see that, but it has some golden details, and I love how that looks. And I went ahead and added that same theme for the weeklies of September. So you'll see that I add them around. This is the first week of September, so I added one of those in there. And I think throughout the weeks, I either cut them in half to add them around and like that. And I did the same thing for the entire month. Even the cover of the month has the flowers. So I just added that here, and I went in and separated the entire section with the flowers beforehand, just so I knew that I was giving them some use throughout the month and that I was keeping it cohesive. So you'll see them around like that. So that's what I did in September. And then October, it went a little bit more childish again with more Halloween stickers, and I did the same thing for the month of October. I went in and added, let's see if I can find it real quick. I added a whole page from a sticker book that had the sticker page holding the stickers. I cut it out, cut it to size, and clipped it in to the beginning of the monthlies for the dailies for the month. And I was holding here stickers. So every time I went in and did a spread that I felt like I wanted to add some stickers, I pulled them from here. So I have to replace them now. Tomorrow is the 31st, so I don't necessarily see myself using these too long. So I might use just these and not replace anymore and just wait till next year. But yeah, so that's October. And then November, I went ahead and used some of the autumn theme decor from the Grabby sub box that I got not too long ago. I did a review or an unboxing of that one, and I'll link it below in case you want to take a look at what comes on those subscription boxes. But they are beautiful. So I went all in and I grabbed some of the decor from there and decor set up my monthly overview here, and I did the same for the weekly. So it's in theme. There's only one sticker here, but it is also from that subscription box. And then the actual monthly section, I did also again set it up with some vellum and decor from the subscription box. So this is the beginning here, and then we get to the monthly beginning for the daily section. Anyways, I got some letters in here and some notes of encouragement and thankfulness and gratitude, and then some tracking in here. Yeah, just kind of making it a little bit different and fun to reach out for a little often. So that's the idea, to make them a little bit more interactive in a way that I feel like I want to come in here and check in with myself based on the tracker area the area that I want to track. So again, I think that it's the same approach that I will continue to do on my monthlies in here. And it's same, I guess, for the weeklies and the dailies. As far as decoration goes, I think I'm going to go with the same. Again, if it's not broken, I'm not trying to. Then we get to the daily section. So I talked a little bit about the monthlies. Then we get to the weeklies. The weeklies are vertical, the same style that I've been using this year. I have been getting used to it, so I'm not trying to change it. So other than the size, everything else is the same. The size and the little spread that's in the front, that's a little different this year, but that's pretty much it. The dailies, again, let me just take it there. I think this is it. So I added a daily tab in here. So live data, I think I want to move it towards the front this time around, and the only reason I don't have it towards the front of my dailies is because that happened after the fact. So I moved in here again in December, and I jumped in my dailies right away. I don't think I have much before the daily. Let me see what else. Let me just make sure. So this is the weekly that I move in here, and then we get to the blank pages, which I turn into my dailies. And all I did was add this right here, like a vision board of what I wanted to attract to my life, and made it into like the division of that section of the daily pages. I added a tracker here for my goals. So the colors represent an area that I wanted to work towards that had to do with the goal that I set for myself at the beginning of the year. And I come over here, and every now and then I updated to check in and see how I'm doing. Then after that, I added this section, which it comes from the Hobonichi Cousin. And the Hobonichi Cousin, you know that there's like a section towards the back where you add a highlight for the month. And I love doing that when I was in there. So I tried to do it and replicate it, and it pretty much looked the same. So it's the month, and then I added a snippet or a highlight of the month and a little doodle to represent what it is that I'm talking about. And I'm still considering whether or not I'm going to do this. So that's why I added like a question mark in here, because I'm not completely sure. It is not something that I reached out often throughout the year. And I'm thinking it's because I had so many other things going on that had to do with the monthly overviews that I found it a little redundant. Although I don't think there is an area where I reflect specifically about a highlight of the month. So I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, and we'll see how that goes. After this, I added a closet time capsule of what I was liking. This will happen at the beginning of the month, so a lot of these things are gone now that I think about it. So I still have a few, but a lot of the things are gone. So I'm looking forward to making another one of these, maybe do it every year to see how things changed and have them all together or something. I don't know, but that's something that it was fun, so I might add it again. Now after that, I went in and jump into my dailies. So again, the data and all the other tracking sections happened after the fact. So I think this happened at some point in February. So as you can see, we are already here in my dailies from February, and that's when the data tracking started. So now that I have been doing this for the year now, I want to bring this towards the front of the dailies. So that's the plan here. I don't necessarily know exactly how many pages I will need, or if I'll add and remove sections, but I do know that I want to at least bring the live data, which is the monthly trackers that I do, then the yearly tracking of the specifics that happen throughout the year. I want to recreate it, still add it, but recreate it in a different layout. And I do have my finances in here, and then some food section, which I never used. I did set it up with pencil and I never looked back in here, so I don't think I'm adding this one again. But at least the data tracking in the finance section and the yearly overview, I will definitely add. What I did in here was separate at least the data section. So I went in and separated the pages that I will need, that I think I will need for the data, for the live data tracking. I think that's how I call it. And then I added another sticky note to remind me that I want to also add finances. And then another section, which is homeschooling tracking. It's also something that happened after the fact I don't even know when this happened, but I can only assume that if it is in here towards depending on one month, which month it is holding that section, that's when it happened. So let me just find it. So I have this section, which holds, oh my goodness, the homeschooling. And this is basically, I went in and looked through the lessons of the classes that we are doing in as a homeschool and divided them into units. So in the topics. So the unit 2 of science was talking about landforms, and I wanted to track when we actually completed it and if we successfully passed that section. So that's what I'm tracking in here. So for science, this is the unit, the date that we completed it, and if it has a green check mark, I'm satisfied with the outcome. And I did the same thing for the other areas we're doing: math, science, history, Spanish, and ELA. And again, this is the section that I am adding. I did add it in here. I want to say that it was on May. So at some point during May, I decided to add that in here. So that's why it's back here. But now that I have been using it and I find it helpful, I will add it towards the beginning of those daily pages. Same thing with this other section that you just saw, which is my gratitude log. It's a daily, a line a day of gratitude. So whatever it is that I'm grateful for, whether that is for my coffee, or that we had a great night sleep, or that we're safe, or that we're healthy, whatever it is, I just come over here and I write a letter, just one line of gratitude. And I find this very therapeutic and helpful into grounding myself back in when things get a little hard. I think that the simplicity is what I'm grateful for, and simple things are to me more important. So I did that. I've been doing this since May 11th. And I have actually skipped a few days. So as you can see here, I skipped towards the end of August and at the beginning of September. Then I came back in, and then in October, I haven't been as consistent, but that's because I started a position as an intern. It's more of a full-time job. It's an internship, but more of it's taken a lot of time. So truly, I haven't really had the time to come back in here as I want to. So I do want to start balancing my time again to come back in here. So I do want to add it. And I think I added a note in here to do that. So there's gratitude in here. So definitely adding that again. Then the yearly overview that I mentioned before, it's in here. The home care tracking for the visual yearly tracking. And that's the one that I said that I wanted to rearrange it how it looks, but I still want to add it in here. So I added a note there for myself. The visual tracking for my goals, that's one that I find a little helpful to check in every now and then. So I'm thinking I'm going to add it again. Maybe the same way or a little different. The visual for my school, which is my own classes instead of homeschool, is like my college. I only have 2 more classes to go for my master's degree. So I don't necessarily think that I will need a whole thing for the whole year. I only have 1 more semester. So I might just use 1 page. I don't know. But I do want to have some kind of tracking, or maybe like a celebration spread or something. One spread that I don't have in my current planner is medication tracking or medication reminders or things like that to get refills. And that is something that I find that is super helpful. And I have done it in I'm trying to look for the tracking. I want to add it towards the life data tracking sort of section. That's one that I did in my pocket Moleskine at some point. And I, again, found it super helpful. Let me just see if I can pull it out. Let me see if I don't have too much of personal info in here. I thought I had a different setup in here, but something like this. It has like the medications and just a short note of what it is for, and then when is the month that is due. Let's say that this allergy medication, what it is for, how much it is needed to be taken, and then I have the monthlies in here, and I add a dot or circle of when it is that it's due again for a refill, and it's supposed to be filled in when it's done. But I did, when I was using this one, even though it doesn't look as used, it was very helpful. I was tracking it as well in a spreadsheet on my computer, so it was like a combination of both. But I do want to have a section like this in my actual daily plan so I can check on it often instead of having it in a separate place. So I want to add it in here. I might just add some kind of like a yearly track like this, maybe add the medication, maybe what it is for, whatever it is that I want to add regarding that medication, and then the monthlies, and then do the same with the little dots and just track when it is due and when I actually did refill it. So the idea is that I can track when it was actually that I did submit the refill. Sometimes they do get to me a little later than we need them, and I need to have some kind of way to track and prove that I did submit it, like for myself anyways. So as far as that medication tracking, that's the only one that it will be new on this one, but I did add a note in here, I believe, to do that. So medication doctor tracks anything that had to do with health wise. I want to have it in here. That will be like the last time that we did a physical, vaccines, or any new medication, why did we get it, anything like that. So I want to have a section that has all of that, and I still have plenty of space. I think I'm gonna have plenty of space, because now that I mentioned that, I was in here in my dailies. In here we have 300, and I want to say that it is the same amount. Let me just make sure before I say something that it's not. It says 367 pages on the slim version, and then on the regular B6 there is 369, and that is, I'm thinking, because the slim version has that new tracker in the front that this one doesn't have. So we have up to 369 blank pages. Now, what I have been doing at this time around, since this is the first time that I have been using a planner like this for memories and everything, I have been counting how many pages I have used throughout the month. Now, I think what saved me in space is because I do divide my pages like this. So I divide them in half, and I just write with the flow. So sometimes I write more, sometimes I write less, sometimes I don't even write enough. I think there's like a few days somewhere in here where I wrote maybe a very short note about the day, but I didn't really had much to say, so I think it was very short. Let me see. I know that it is here somewhere. So in here, like this day, in September 9th, I don't even remember what happened that day, and I remember I think I left the planner for 2 days actually. So I was feeling stressed with work and life and everything, so I didn't really touch my planner for those 2 days. So I came back on the 11th and I wrote a little bit of what I could remember, I guess, like a line or two about Tuesday, a line or two about Wednesday, and then I moved on to the next day. So that happens every now and then. I think throughout the year it happened maybe 3 times, 3 times. Yeah, I saved a little bit of space. But then throughout the rest of the time, I do try to write as much as I can to remember what it is that we did throughout the day. So here's the 6th of September, here's the 7th, here's the 8th. So that's the space. It's like a whole day in this little bit of a space. So therefore I have 4 days in 2 pages. And I think that saved me a lot of space. So I had more space to do other things, like the spreads that I showed you and the collections that I have added in between the months. I think that throughout the year, my average is about 12 to 15 pages per month. So I went in and counted. So how many pages I used, including the collections, how many pages I used for the month of June. I went in and added it towards the beginning here somewhere. So I used 13 pages this month. And then for the month of July, let me see how many I did. I think it's about the same anyways. This is June. And for the month of July, I used 15. So I did that for the entire year. I counted to have an average, and hopefully I could do the same thing for this time around for 2026, and I should have the same space and the same opportunity to add collections and keep my dailies as happened. So based on this review, and when I was doing this, just noting my pages and what I wanted to bring in and not, I did take my time just like I'm doing now and went through my current pages and decided what I wanted to keep trying, what I didn't want to keep trying, and that's why you see all these sticky notes around. The hearts are definitely things that I am keeping for sure. The exclamation points are things that I want to make better, that I like and I see potential. I just want to make them better. Same thing with multiple explanations. So definitely keep in the goal section. I just need to make it more approachable and something that attracts me more to take action on a daily basis. And what else? The stars are things that have been important to me that I want to work on a little bit better, like the covers for the monthlies. And that's something that I have been throughout the year getting better and better at, just allowing myself to go with the flow and do what I want instead of just keeping it aesthetically pleasing for the algorithm. Something that I want to keep in mind. And the question marks are, again, spreads that I'm still thinking whether or not I want to bring them or not. And if it doesn't have anything, any type of sticky note or whatever, it's things that I'm not bringing with me, so therefore I don't know which ones are those. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. I did the same sort of color coding or symbol coding. So I went in and divided them in the areas that I think that I want to add them. It doesn't have to be right there specifically. Like for example, back here, I don't necessarily need it to have medication all the way back here. I can just add it towards at some point throughout the first pages of the blank pages, but it depends on how, you know, how I set those up. But I do want to have some kind of reminder to make sure that I do remember to add it in here at some point. So this is how I have been analyzing and taking an audit on my system for this year and what it is that I want to do for the new year ahead. What I'm bringing with me, what I'm making better, what I'm tweaking a little bit, and what I'm leaving behind. This is part of the process. Now that I have the sections marked and what I want to do, I can safely start adding things to it, like adding decor or pockets and things like that. I do want to add like a pocket in here, which I did here at the beginning. I want to add, I have a clear pocket in here. I have another one back here that I used it so much that it broke. Where is it? It's right here. I used it so much that it broke apart. So I do want to do the same thing, but maybe make it a little bit more stronger so it can last me a little longer. That's the plan for there. So things like that. Now that I know exactly what I want to bring with me, I know how to approach it. I don't necessarily do my setup on camera because I don't know what it is, but it's just, I feel better and more creative when I'm not necessarily filming it. I rather do a flip through after I'm filming it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I wanted to share my process with you in hopes that I can share some inspiration and ideas on how to do the migration for your new planner and how to prep, make sure that you have what you need and what you really want to have. I hope again that the video has been helpful and inspiring in some way. Let me know if you have questions or if you want me to elaborate on any area, and I will definitely give that a try. So until then, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.